y'all, welcome back to another episode. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Leah Huggins. She is a personal development and family life coach, a mother, a military veteran, and a military spouse. So let's welcome Leah.
Hey y'all, thanks for having me.
Yes, Miss Leah, welcome to the show.
First off, Leah, thank you for your service and thank you again for taking the time out to talk with us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you all for having me here.
Well, as you know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so we want to focus on this topic. But before we dive in, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background history?
Sure. So, as you said, I am a wife, I am a mother, and a proud Navy veteran. My husband, who was also in the Navy, he was deployed twice to Iraq. And as a result of his experience, he was diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. That also came with depression and anxiety. And this affected him emotionally and mentally. And as a way to cope with his condition, he began to drink more and more. And the smallest things would become the biggest fights for us. And because of the alcohol, he became verbally abusive, and physically aggressive. So this is something that we struggled with for years. In our marriage, we had extreme highs and we had extreme lows, and eventually I developed what's called Secondary Ptsd. And that is something that's very common in caregivers of people that have experienced trauma. I became withdrawn and disconnected. And there were days that I was too depressed, to even get out of bed. I was angry. I was upset with everyone. And because of that, my relationships suffered, with friends and family and coworkers. I thought everything was about me. I thought everyone was against me. On top of that, I lost my dad to cancer. He was my best friend and my biggest cheerleader. And he was a main source of emotional support to me. So understandably, 2016 was like a terrible time for me. I was in a dark place, and I knew that I had to come out, but I didn't know how I was going to do that. So I began my journey, and it started out with my faith, basically. As I began to work on my relationship with God, I realized that I was also working on my relationship with myself. And I began to build myself up by studying the things that I was going through and the things that I wanted out of life. So I just started studying and reading. I started journaling. The secret that I found out was that regardless of what was going on around me, that I am the only one that is responsible for my happiness. And the moment that I took control over my life, everything started changing, including my relationship with my husband, because I changed my focus. And so this is what brought me here. This is what I want to do. I want to help women with the same issue, because there are so many of us that are going through different versions of the same thing, especially in the military, where there's cases of mental conditions, like PTSD and depression and anxiety. It's so common, in the military. So that's the reason that I started coaching, because it's so common. So to be able to help is such a blessing to me.
Okay. So did that journey start, with, did you start that journey on your own, or was it like you and your husband started realizing that, hey, we need to, make some changes and coming together and doing that? Or was, like I said, did you start it, on your own and then kind of bring him along as the process went on?
So, my husband is the type that he needs to figure it out on his own. And so that's what I did. I took the journey myself, and I realized
so basically
that
he's a man.
Right.
There you go. I took the journey myself. And once I started to get myself together, I treated him a little bit, I was treating him different. I was treating myself different. Because I was being nicer to him, we were able to relate, a little bit more. We were able to get along better. That's where it started. And he would see things that I was doing. I love watching, inspirational stuff in the mornings, especially. So, I would be watching, Joyce Meyer or TD Jakes. I love Stephen Furtick. So I would watch him too. And my husband would see the stuff that I'm watching. He would be watching it too. He just wouldn't say anything. And then later on, maybe in the week or maybe another time, he would say, I was talking with my friends and, we were in the garage and we were talking about the same stuff that they were talking about on TV. And I was able to help them with a problem, because of the stuff that you listen to. So he picked it up. He picked it up, but it started with me understanding that I needed to make the change myself for myself. And then it just trickled over to him.
Well, that is awesome. I mean, both of y'all are like a living testimony, just walking through, because I'm pretty sure that had to been a big strain on you guys' marriage and everything like that. How many years have y'all been married, by the way?
We have been married 20 years. 20 years.
Woo. Yes, that's goals right there.
Yes. Definitely. So yes. What was that moment that sparked you going from, obviously focusing on yourself and making a change and then focusing on your marriage, and then like having that moment where you just realize, you know what, I need to take this and apply this to where I can help other people, use my story to help other people. Like, what was that transition for you to realize that you could just take that personal experience and, and help many others who may be going through something similar?
So, my husband is always telling me about how he's always talking to his friends, about the things that we talk about, the things that we do, just common practices around the house now. And he's always, giving them, I don't know if it's giving them advice, but basically, they're having their man talk in the man cave. And he helps them with the things that, that we talk about and the things that we do. A lot of them, like I said before, a lot of them are in the same situations where they're dealing with PTSD. They have their own way of coping with it, whether it's alcohol, whatever it is. And then the wives have the same issues going on where the wives, they're fed up, they don't want to deal with it anymore, things like that. Or if they're in a struggle, they want their marriage to work, but they don't know how, they don't know what to do. And so, it really just came from that, from seeing how much we have in common, especially with the friends that are around us. But like I say, once I realized that I won't say everybody's going through it, but the fact that it's so common, I realized, this is something that can help. We were laying in bed one morning and my husband got a call and his friend was just in a dark place, and he helped him. And I said, this is what we need to be doing. For me, for sure, I know it was just confirmation that this is what we need to be doing, that we're put here for a reason. We came out for a reason, and that's to help somebody else. And it's the opportunities are coming in now, for people to want help. So it only makes, for people to get help. I'm sorry. So it only makes sense for us to be able to, reach our hand and say, hey, we're here to help. We're here to do this with you.
That's awesome. So there's definitely evidence that this is you guys calling and y'all purpose. So kudos to you and your husband for, telling your story, getting through it, still getting through it, but being able to help and encourage other families and marriages as well. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So I know you mentioned that you were in the dark place and you had to pull yourself out. I know you said you focus on yourself first, but was there anybody, like any special friends or any family members that tried to help you get out of that dark spot?
Or that notice,
Yes,
sometimes
there were
people may not even notice.
Yes, I have, and I still have, people that I can talk to. You have to be very careful about who you talk to, about the affairs of your marriage, the business that goes on in your marriage. You want to be very smart about the people. You don't want to be complaining just to any and everybody. If the person does not, have good advice for you, if the person cannot be objective, if they, can only see, your side of it, saying, oh yeah, that person is wrong, but they don't hold you accountable for your end of it. That's not the person that you want to vent to. So yes, I had friends definitely that were there. I had friends, that I would talk to about, when things were going on, and they were there. They were supportive. I think sometimes I might have got on their nerves, complaining, but that was before I realized, okay, you have work to do yourself. And sometimes there has to be a point where you have to mature enough not to have to go to friends about everything, just to complain, about everything. And you have to do the work yourself. And so eventually that's what I did. I have leadership, as far as, my faith, my pastor and, his wife definitely are, they're such a wonderful example of marriage, and coming together and how to treat each other. And they will hold you accountable if if you're the one that's in the wrong, they will definitely hold you accountable, which is what I needed. So definitely, it's important to have someone to lean on, but just be careful about who you choose to do that with.
Yeah, that is so true.
Yes.
I was going to ask you when your husband returned, what was that support like from? Because he's also Navy too, right? He was.
Yes, he's Navy.
Both of you guys were Navy. Okay, so when he returned, what was that support like from the Navy for you guys, or was it did you kind of feel alone, in terms of trying to help him recover from everything that he had seen and been through?
So, yeah, his diagnosis actually did not come until after he retired. So he went, like I say, he went twice. The first time he went was 2002. And then he went again, I want to say around 2011, 2012. So when he came back the first time, I really didn't notice anything different. I take that back. The only thing that I noticed different about him, he would pace. He was very nervous. He would pace back and forth, and he didn't sleep a lot. He would be up in the middle of the night. I'll turn over in the middle of the night and he's, up on the phone, or he's watching TV, or, so we didn't notice right away. And then, as time went on, one thing I will say, having thought of this, one thing I will say is that PTSD, the mental condition, I don't want to say it like that. It does cause issues. It does cause issues within the marriage. However, we had issues. We had real issues. And I can't just say, it's all because of his PTSD that we were arguing and doing all this stuff. We had real issues within our marriage. However, dealing with the PTSD, dealing with the drinking, it magnified it and made it worse than what it should have been. So that's one, I believe that is definitely one effect of PTSD. It magnifies what's already there and just makes it worse. But yeah, that was it. We really didn't notice it. It was not given an official name, until after, he got out of the military. Or right before he got out. It was close to the time that he got out, that he was actually diagnosed with it. So, yeah, we knew, I just knew that he drank a lot, to be honest. I just knew that he was drinking a lot and we fought a lot. But as far as knowing that it was conditioned, it wasn't until towards the end. The military did. I do know that, like, towards the end of the deployment, they do have kind of like a going home meeting where they kind of teach you about readjusting to life. And I'm sure they did this, when he was coming home from Iraq. I'm pretty sure they did this, but they do like a readjustment, kind of like a meeting or a conference kind of thing where when you come home, they kind of help you to get back into the swing of things. They teach you about getting back into the swing of things when you get home. But once he did get a diagnosis, they do offer, he did go to counseling, medicines, things like that. So they do provide stuff, but it's on you, as far as what you do, whether or not you take it, what works for you. And it was up and down with him. It was up and down.
Was he initially receptive to, the diagnosis and, whatever treatment they prescribed to him?
I believe he was. But it's a matter of taking the medicine. The constant reminder, hey, did you take your medicine today? But yeah, it's on him, whether or not he would do it. If he's in a place where he's drinking a lot or binge drinking, then it's less likely that he would have taken the medicine, at that time. So I can kind of tell, I can kind of gauge, looking at him, okay, how long has it been, since you took your medicine? But yeah, he is for his health. I will say that he is for his health. And he does take good care of himself, exercising, working out. When he does stay on top of his medicine, he's very good at it. So it's just a matter of being in the right place, in the right, mindset to do that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what about you? Because I know you mentioned, dealing with secondary PTSD. Like, what are the I guess the treatments or the remedies or some of the activities or different things that they may have offered you, to try to reach some level of healing?
Mm-hmm. So I was diagnosed by the VA with depression, anxiety, the secondary PTSD. Though I had no. I didn't know that there was such a thing as secondary PTSD. I was actually in my car and I was listening to a talk radio show, and this lady called in and she was trying to get advice about, dealing with the same situation that I was. And she was just trying to get advice about it and how she could help her husband. And the host, he was an expert, a topic expert, but the host basically told her, well, have you gotten help for yourself? And that's when he mentioned about secondary PTSD. I had never heard of it until then. And so I said, wow, that sounds like what's happening with me. And I ended up going to the VA, and they did diagnose me with depression and anxiety. I did counseling. They prescribed medication to me. I didn't like how the medication made me feel. So I didn't take it as much. My healing was really through self-care. That's what worked for me. I'll say that. That's what worked for me. Self-care is really what worked for me. And, as with anything, you still have your moments. I still have my moments. But it's a fact. It's a matter of me getting centered again. If I'm having a moment, 9 times out of 10, I've stopped reading. I've stopped studying. I've stopped doing things, that build me up or that make me feel better. So it's just a matter of me being aware of myself. And so that's what helped me. Really, the journaling, I tell you, the studying, the journaling, and just working on me, that really is what brought me out. So yes, ma'am. Now I say take your medicine. If they tell you to take medicine, take your medicine.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what worked for me.
Well, let me ask you this really quick. We're not going to hold you too much longer, but so tell us some of the work that you're doing with, the women that you're trying to reach out to, or some of the women that, that you're helping through this process.
Sure.
Or at couples. I don't, whoever.
Right now it's just women. But what we're doing, I am having classes we have coming up. It is a virtual spa experience. And so we're doing spiritual makeovers. I guess you can call it spiritual, mental, emotional makeovers, where we're just going to discuss, self-care again, because I'm real big on self-care. We're going to discuss self-care. We're going to talk about setting boundaries. We're going to talk about all the things that we need to let go of emotional baggage and how to, like I say, turn it around and use it to propel you in your future and to help you walk in your purpose. So that's really what we're doing. I just want to have, events and things that people can take a look at and be able to use those and to help them along in their journey, in their walk.
That's awesome. That sounds like a great event.
Thank you. So the website is going to be www.bit.ly/HUGSPA. So www.bit.ly/HUGSPA.
All right. Well, just got one more question before you go, Miss Leah. And that's if you have any advice or any resources that you would suggest to our listeners who may be going through a hard time at this moment.
Sure. Self-care, like I say, I cannot stress that enough. Self-care, finding out what works for you. I would say, like I did before, I studied what I wanted, where I wanted to be. So I studied what I was going through and I studied where I wanted to be. It wasn't just in my Bible. I would go and find articles in Google. I would Google whatever it is, if it's depression, if it's anxiety, if it's, whatever it is. I would Google some information and just find some articles that would help me out, help me to get better understanding. Journaling definitely is a big help because it helps you to take things out of your mind and put them on paper in front of you. So it's kind of like a way, it's like a data dump for your mind where you're able to put things down. So I say start with a notebook and a pen, and Google, start there. Yes, definitely. If you are in trouble, definitely find some help for that. Get out if you need to. If it's, if you're in danger, never stay in a situation where you are in danger. But definitely find some help, find a good support system, find people that you can confide in, and finding a good network, a good support system is key. So yes, but self-care, that's going everywhere. Self-care is the biggest thing.
Yes, thank you. Well, it was a pleasure having you on with us today, and we really appreciate you taking the time out.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This was a good time.
Yes,
this was a good time. I appreciate it.
You'll have to come back on. So we normally end out with our affirmation. So we're gonna go ahead and get into that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I am enough.
I have the power to create the life I desire.
I am worthy of my dreams.
I am worthy of my dreams.
Yes.
So thanks again, Miss Leah. You have a good one. And remember, shine, sis. You got this.
You got this, girl.